you for visiting with me on Coffee with Katina.
Of
How are
course.
you?
I'm doing just fine. Just getting waked up this morning.
All right, I understand. I understand. Okay, well, again, this is just an informal meeting, just to kind of, learn a little bit about you, your backstory, your love for music, and all those great things. Okay,
Sure.
yeah. So, for starters, what or who actually inspired you to do music?
Um, I think it started, I started playing first in church and we had a worship band that I thought they were really cool. Um, it was like a 5 or 6 piece bluegrass band who actually toured before they played at the church. And like they had this
Okay.
synergy that was so cool. And I thought, I wish I could just be on the same groove
Mhm.
as they are with the whole group of people. That looks like a lot of fun, and I'd like to play music. So
Okay. Okay.
yeah,
All right. Is that a band that you ended up eventually joining, or it's just
yeah,
it's not really? Okay.
yeah. I started learning piano and then played a little bit as like the alternative band for the church, and then left that church and then started leading worship at some small churches, and then I think it was maybe like 8 years later.
Mhm.
I got asked to come to a different church, and the whole band was there, minus a guitarist and lead vocalist, which is what I would been doing. So that was really cool.
Perfect. All right.
Uh,
That's great. All right. So, how has music actually helped you in life in general?
I'd say I'm not much of a writer, at least I don't think so, until I've got things stressing me out or
Mhm.
just getting in my head about something. And I don't write for a couple months, and I just kind of sit down and it pours out onto whatever I'm working on, and just like a relief, like a stress off my shoulders. So
Wonderful.
it's like I don't want to write sometimes, but it's sometimes I have to just to get whatever's bothering me off my chest. So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah, that is a great tool to have. Just songwriting itself and being able to, put your thoughts down on paper to be
yeah,
therapeutic. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Yeah,
Or even just playing a song, it just makes you feel better sometimes. So
yeah, yeah. That's great to know. I love that. So what are your plans? I know you mentioned, your backstory as far as starting out playing with a band in church. What are your future plans for music?
uh, well, I was trying, I think back in like 2022 to be a big hotshot, you know, up and coming artist in Houston. I think that's whenever I was doing lessons with you when we first met.
Okay.
Um, but I don't know, it's a bit much for me. So
Okay.
I've slowed down a bit, still writing, and just doing more of the family life thing.
Okay.
Um, got married in November. I got a baby on the way in August.
Oh my gosh. Well, congrats. You know what?
Thank
That's funny that you mentioned that because I actually thought about that. I was like, oh, he's been married for a
you.
while. I wonder.
Yeah,
Wonderful
yeah.
news. Okay.
So yeah, I'm not much for, touring or working with bands. It just takes up a bunch of time, but I'm still playing and practicing and writing when I can and singing to the baby, and it seems like she likes it because she kicks around when I start singing.
All
Yeah.
right. Might have another singer in the family
No, yeah,
or musician, one of the two.
right.
Okay. All right. So, well, with that in mind, what are some of the things that you would inspire someone that might be wanting to go into the music industry, and might have some hesitations, since you actually experienced a few things along the line of your career or, experience in music or doing music. What would you inspire someone else to do that, or maybe branch into the industry or just do music itself?
Hmm. I think everyone should do at least a little bit of music, but um, music professionally is just, I don't know, it's kind of cutthroat. You really need to cut out your niche,
Mm-hmm.
say, because there's a lot of people who just do it casually and they're actually pretty good and they don't know it.
Right.
and they'll do it for free. Or you've got retired musicians who
Hmm.
they're like, "Oh, I'm just happy to play," and they've toured for 30 years and they're amazing, and they
Hmm.
don't need to get paid for it. And I don't know, they clash a lot of times with the younger artists who are giving it their all, and they have nothing, and they're just hoping that something will stick.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I think either finding a niche that no one else is really doing, or just really being passionate about it, because when you start getting paid for it, the passion can slowly fade.
Mm.
And it's very obvious when you're performing if you're not as passionate, because people just they don't want to listen.
Yeah.
They like passion, they like uniqueness, and if you can have those two things, then you can go far. And say,
It's interesting. It's interesting. Interesting you say that. You're actually the second person I've heard say that. As far as music as a profession, it kind
oh,
of
really?
takes the fun. Yeah. It kind of takes the fun out of, I guess, music itself, because when you first start out, it's like you have this passion, this enjoyment, this urge
Yeah,
and motivation to do it. And then when you start doing it as a career, it's like, oh, this is actually a job,
uh, clock in. Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. So that's interesting you say that. And I guess that's one of the things that I find in a lot of people that have actually been in a career for a while.
Yeah,
They have the love for music in itself, the songwriting and things like that, and the performance. But when it
right.
becomes more of a routine, as far as like touring and you're up in the early mornings, up in the late nights, and you got to be over here, this place, and that place. And I'm speaking from experience as well. It starts to become a little tiresome,
Yeah.
you still enjoy the craft, you still enjoy the the movement.
Yes.
Yeah, but it starts to become a little tiresome. And I definitely understand that. Um, well,
Yeah.
and I think what you mentioned as far as encouragement to, to others, don't don't not do it. Do at least some form of it if you have a passion or an interest to do it, because you know it never hurts to have that as a background or even as a
Yeah.
therapeutic tool.
Good
um,
for you.
yeah,
It's
of
good.
course, of course. Yeah, no, I love that. I love that. um, well, since we're not actually doing the movement as far as the recording and the career in music in itself, since you do have some recordings or have had some recordings, is there any social media or any, thing that you would want to mention to anyone that might be listening to the recordings or your interview that you would like to share, with them as far as,
Yeah.
stuff that you've done?
Yeah. I've got one song out, which I don't know. Putting out music is like
It's
completely
that,
different. Being a it's its own profession.
of course.
Um, but I've got one song out. It should be on all platforms. Dylan Jakobs, DylanJakobs.
Okay.
Um, and I'm usually posting stuff about shows on Facebook or Instagram. Same name.
Okay.
Um, got a bunch of songs that I've written, just haven't recorded yet, and I usually just perform them live. I just I make most of my money performing live, so
Okay.
uh, I'd say that's where most people could see when the upcoming shows are, things like that.
Okay. Okay. So when you mentioned upcoming shows, so are you still somewhat performing? Is that what it is? Oh, okay. All right. I
Yeah,
thought you maybe had just
like wineries or sports bars or private parties, just little things like that where it's maybe a half-hour drive at most, and then I play for 2 to 3 hours, and then come back home.
got you. Okay. I think that's great. I'm happy to hear that because you definitely have talent. I mean, I love, what you do. Your voice is beautiful. So of course, I mean, it's great that you're still at least somewhat putting forth some of the movement and
Yeah, I don't advertise and cold call as much as I did
okay.
before, but every now and then I get a call or a text asking to come perform, so it's nice.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Balance. I get it. I
Yes.
kind of get it. Okay. Well, speaking of performances, do you have something prepared for us to kind of listen to today, where we can kind of see where
Sure.
you are and check out some of your skills?
Let me try with this. This is my first song of the morning.
Okay.
Just a little bit of this. This is usually like my opener song.
All
When
right.
I doesn't need to be an original, does it?
No, it can be whatever you want.
Okay, cool. Maybe I can. I see the crystal raindrops fall, and the beauty of it all is when the sun comes shining through to make the rainbows in my mind. When I think of you sometimes, I want to spend some time with you, just the two of us. And if we try, just the two of us, just the two of us, just the two of us. So them castles in the sky, just the two of us, you and I. There's a little bit. My voice is getting out of it because it's so early.
Okay. All right. Well, we got a little bit of a taste. So, well, I mean, in saying that, I want to welcome you and thank you for visiting with me on Coffee with Katina as always. I mean, I always love, hearing you play and sing. I'm definitely looking forward to, some of your shows. Let me, keep me updated because I didn't notice you were still, actually out there and doing some things. So it would be great to know.
I'll
Yeah.
let you know. And I appreciate you having me part of different things. I think the last time I saw you was we were on a float for a parade or
Yes.
something.
Yes. It was Martin Luther King parade.
Yeah, yeah, that's what it was. It was cold that morning
It was
too.
cold. It was cold. But we made it. Huh?
It's always fun though. So I appreciate you keeping me in the activities that you got going on. So thank you for
Absolutely. Absolutely. And we'll always. I will always be out there. Dylan,
all
I
right.
know.
Either I don't say no too easily, so
Yeah, I appreciate that.
of course.
Okay, Dylan, well, I appreciate you again, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday and your weekend.
All right. Thank you so much. Same to you. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely.